How many days does it take you to bake 3,500 pretzels?
Now I've got it down to a science. I go to the Oscar parties, the night before parties.
Yeah.
Hey, Waffles, what you want? You want a pretzel? That is a cute dog.
Oh my God, see that face?
That is a cute puppy. Oh, Waffles is going to be huge on the internet.
Coming up on Need to Know, would you pay $19 for a single strawberry? How to enjoy Girl Scout cookies all year long? And National Pretzel Day. That and everything else you need to know. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Need to Know. I'm Gemma Stafford, cookbook author, chef, and the host of Bigger Bolder Baking. And I'm joined as always by Ami Shukla, who is the culinary director here at Bigger Bolder Baking. Hello, Ami.
Hello, how are
Ami
you?
is my right-handed person, and that makes sense. I'll tell you why. I'm left-handed.
Oh, I'm left-handed too.
That's true. Am I your right-handed person? Probably not. I'm like to Ami, if you break your arm and your arm is useless. That's me to Ami. Okay, enough of the niceties. Let's get stuck in. This is interesting. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. There's a lot going on in the sweet baking world.
There is, but actually before we get into baking, it's getting warmer, it's springtime, the farmers markets are starting to burst with all this fruit.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's this wonderful time, and it's actually made me think about this viral strawberry that you can get at Arowan. Have you heard about this?
Ami, where are you going with this? I know about this strawberry.
So I really wanted to bring one in for us to try, but I can't find them because they're sold out. So we're just going to have to talk about it.
Okay.
It's okay. So we're just going to speculate. But okay, so it's this, it's a $19 strawberry.
Mm-hmm.
You buy it at Arowan.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok about it.
Okay. So, well, it's produced in Japan, and it's supposed to be huge and incredibly delicious. The strawberry is grown by this fruit vendor in Japan, in Kyoto, named, and the vendor is LEMI. This strawberry is supposed to be heart-shaped, and it's supposed to be incredibly sweet and floral and fragrant, and it comes in this special box.
So I saw the girl, her name was Alyssa, and I saw the video, and I saw the box, and I saw the whole thing. But when I saw the $19 price tag, I was like out.
Yeah.
But so tell me more about it.
Well, there is a I've read in the past that there's this tradition of gift giving in Japan, of giving fruit.
Oh.
And so I do know that there's just less land in Japan. There's a lot more focus on quality over quantity, which is, a little different than what we do here in the States, I think, oftentimes. And so fruit is very precious. It's prized. And I think there's a lot of care and attention to detail. These strawberries are grown in a special greenhouse that is climate controlled. They're very thoughtful about all the produce that they produce. I think there's mangoes, there's different other fruits, and so I hope that more than just the strawberry comes to the States, and I hope that one day, Gemma, you and I get to try this viral strawberry.
I mean, you're going to have to treat me to a $19 strawberry, because as an Irish person,
when's your birthday?
Or maybe, yeah. That's going to be hard to separate. With $19. But I watched Brandy Malloy did a video also, like she went and got the strawberry. She's a content creator in LA and a friend, and she said it was amazing.
Was it the best strawberry she's ever had living in California here?
It sounded like it.
Really?
She said it was worth it.
Yeah.
So very interesting. We have an Arowan up the road from here, as you know. We did the Arowan pumpkin pie. Do you remember?
Yeah, that was a good pumpkin
pie. It was a good pumpkin pie. It was a good pumpkin pie. In LA, we all know Arowan has been the most expensive supermarket.
Right.
Not even supermarket. It's like luxury food store. It's not even a supermarket.
Yeah, don't go just to get
No, don't run in to get an apple or an onion. Or a strawberry.
Or you'll still be paying it off.
But I didn't know it was, and this is not new. It's been for quite some time now, but I didn't know it was such a huge deal all around the world online on TikTok. Because of the Hailey Bieber smoothie and like, all
She
those
made
things.
a smoothie out of that
No,
strawberry?
no, 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 no.
Oh, God, I was
She
like-
orders a smoothie
the
from
smoothie
there,
from
and it's like
Arowan.
$20, so everybody goes in now and orders the Hailey Bieber $20 smoothie.
I have to say, I can't get the strawberry out of my mind, though. Now I'm kind of obsessed.
Okay, maybe we should get one.
I'm going to get one.
It does look. Let me tell you something though. Something probably on par. The best strawberries like that I've ever had, and I'm not being biased here, this is true because Kevin also agrees, are I've said this before, but in Ireland, where I'm from in Wexford, we grow the most amazing strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
The soil is quite acidic where I'm from, so it is the perfect environment to grow them. They're not tiny, like they're normal sized strawberries, like because you don't see normal sized strawberries anymore. George ate one the other day that was the size of his hand. He ate it like a hand fruit. It was massive, but in Ireland, they're small. They are so red. I'll share a photo so you can see it. And they're so red. And the season is literally 8 weeks. So you don't go to Arowan to buy it. This has always been the way they've been sold on the side of the road in a horse box.
Mm-hmm.
You know what a horse box looks like, right?
I know.
No?
I'm just saying, but
Okay.
I have no idea what a horse box is.
It's a horse. I'll share my pictures because we've gone to them in Wexford. A horse box on the side of the road. You buy. They have punnets, which we call them punnets, which are cartons of strawberries, and you give the young person working their summer job there like a few euros for this. They're more expensive now, but we did that ever since I was young. It's always been a thing in Wexford. Everybody in Ireland knows about Wexford strawberries, and they're just absolutely delicious. So maybe one day, Ami, you'll experience a Wexford strawberry.
Well, yeah, I have to say, I feel like the best strawberries I ever had were growing up in New England, hiking in Maine in this gorgeous national park called Acadia National Park. Up on top of a mountain once, we found these tiny, like I don't know, like a centimeter size
Yeah.
strawberries.
Funny.
And they were the most concentrated and most delicious
Yeah.
strawberries I ever had. So between Maine and Ireland and Japan.
I like the way how you turned it is like we're in Japan and then I bring it home to Ireland where I'm from and then Ami goes to Connecticut where she's from.
Not to be
well,
outdone.
my strawberries.
Well, I've definitely had a good strawberry, even if not today.
Okay, so in conclusion, we'll try and get our hands on a strawberry and try it in another episode.
Absolutely. Sounds
Okay,
good.
sounds good. So moving on, we're coming to the end of Girl Scout cookie season.
Yes.
Have you seen them walking around the neighborhood?
Oh, they're all over. Yes. And, we eat so many Girl Scout cookies. And my kids will come home with them, from friends. And we all want to support the Girl Scouts we know. So, we do eat a lot of Girl Scout cookies.
I will tell you something that I did. I was home the other day by myself and I saw them walking the neighborhood and I dodged them.
And that was it.
I went upstairs.
Enough.
I went upstairs. I was like, I don't need cookies right now. I was like, I don't want to deal. I haven't got cash. It was like, so I just like totally dodged these like 14-year-old girls. Oh my gosh. So here's some fun facts. The Girl Scout cookie program is the largest girl-led entrepreneurial program in the world. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
It's amazing. So it's comprised of 111 councils. There are over 4,000 troops. And there are active today 1.1 million Girl Scouts.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. That's a lot of cookies.
Fun. I wonder what else they do, but they really stand out for their cookie program.
Oh, they do so much. Yeah.
And it's really great to see it so strong today because even celebrities like Kristen Bell and John Legend were out dialing for dollars or whatever, trying to, helping the kids sell Girl Scout cookies, their kids.
Right, sure. I mean, they all keep certain booth times or booth hours where they're, they have certain designated areas around the city where they're approved to sell.
Yeah.
And they all, try to sell a certain amount, and they have goals. I don't know a whole lot about it, but we do have some friends who are Girl Scouts.
Oh, well, I think I have to say, I think John Legend's kid has an advantage, probably being out in Malibu. That's some prime real estate.
Yeah.
For cookie selling.
Yeah, right. Of course.
So recently on Kelly Ripa's show, she got booed for not liking Thin Mints.
Oh. I would boo her for that. Those are the best.
They are good. So that's my question to you is what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
It used to be Samoa's.
Yeah.
But then, as I've gotten older, I feel like they've gotten a little sweet for me. But you know what is always, always good and has always been one of my favorites. And now I think my favorite is Thin Mints.
You know what? I I think my favorite is Thin Mints too. I really do love them. I have a recipe. Actually, Ami was the one, it was your idea to make Thin Mints, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For the website. So we have a lovely recipe for Thin Mints on the website, and definitely keep them in the fridge, right, Ami?
Freezer.
Freezer.
Oh yeah, they're like perfect right out of the freezer. And that's one of the things that's great about them is you can get a few boxes of Girl Scout cookies. You can keep them in the freezer, the Thin Mints in particular, and eat them straight from frozen.
Yeah.
They're so good. The coolness of the freezer.
Yeah.
really
Also
is
the coolness of the mint.
Yes.
It's really,
Yeah.
they're so delicious and they're subtle. I have a recipe on biggerbolderbaking.com. We also have the Samoa recipe.
Yes. Yeah.
Which
So
was also very good.
those are so good, and it's so nice because it's always so sad when Girl Scout season ends. Like it's, you might, what if you want a Girl Scout cookie in June and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't have any more Thin Mints in your freezer?
I know, right?
But I also heard that to extend the season a little further, the Girl Scouts are partnering with Pop-Tarts to create Thin Mint and Samoa flavored Pop-Tarts.
Hey,
Yeah. So,
I can get on board with that.
yeah.
That's probably, when you hear that, it's probably something I shouldn't try. That is not a balanced breakfast.
I love a Pop-Tart. So, Gemma, we have talked about strawberries, Girl Scout cookies, and Pop-Tarts. So I feel like we should talk about my next favorite snack, which is pretzels.
I love pretzels.
And, it just so happens that this week on April 26th, it's National Pretzel Day.
Yay! Soft or hard? Or
what?
both? Soft or hard or both?
Well, it unspecified.
Your choice.
I do love a soft pretzel. And just to give a little brief history in honor of National Pretzel Day, soft pretzels were believed to have originated in Europe, invented by monks, and were consumed during Lent. And that crisscross pretzel shape
Yeah.
was originally supposed to resemble hands in prayer. And I read that monks would give these to their students, like when they got their prayers right, they would get pretzels as a gift.
Yeah. I did not know. That's so interesting.
Yeah. And then as time went on, pretzels started. They started to be used in weddings to symbolize like tying the knot
Union and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when people say they're tying the knot, that's actually it came from pretzels.
No.
Yes. Yeah. So eventually, after
So cool.
yeah. So it was about
You're
like
so knowledgeable.
Well,
you just teach me stuff all the time.
thank you.
That's so interesting.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
Yeah. Thank you, Internet.
Well, anyway, so the pretzels went from representing prayer to representing love, good luck, and prosperity. So it's very cool. And I feel like I wish I knew that when I was getting married, or I would have definitely served pretzels at my wedding.
You could have pretzels at your wedding for sure.
Yeah.
So a fun fact that I learned, German immigrants actually brought pretzels to America in the 1700s.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the companies that pioneered pretzels that we actually know today, Sturges
Mm-hmm.
and also Anderson's pretzels. So when you think about like the bag of hard pretzels that you see in the supermarket, like those are the two big ones, right?
Uh-huh.
Sturges opened up a pretzel house in 1861 and in Pennsylvania. And actually 80% of pretzels made today in the US come from Pennsylvania.
That's
Isn't that
incredible.
interesting?
Yeah.
I actually have a trip planned to Pennsylvania at the during this year, which I've never been before. Have you?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Here she goes again. Fancy Ami.
I didn't realize pretzels were fancy, but okay.
You just made them fancy. No, so I haven't been to Pennsylvania, but isn't that interesting? 80%. That's so, yeah, it's so funny. Do you know what? Kevin's dad, who is of Jewish descent, is from Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And also I think Kevin remembers like pretzels, like also growing up and things like that.
Yeah.
So interesting. It's supposed to be a lovely part of the world. Like, of the countryside of Pennsylvania is supposed to be lovely.
Yeah.
I've never been to this. Yeah.
No, it's really beautiful. There's so much history there. It's gorgeous. One thing I wanted to mention about the pretzels in Pennsylvania, the Sturges Pretzel House was the first company to produce hard pretzels.
Yeah.
And that allowed pretzels soft pretzels really have to be eaten the day they're made.
Yeah, they don't travel, right?
Yeah, they don't travel well, but these hard pretzels allowed them to be packaged. They stay on shelves longer. And I think that helped the popularity of the pretzels. And that was in the late 1800s
Yeah.
when that started.
That makes sense. I have to say, so in America, we came here as kids on vacation, and we would get pretzels and stuff, and they were never my thing. As I'm older now and I've been here quite a bit, like I like kind of like flavored, like we get one on is it like a Delta flight, gives you like the sour cream ones or something. Those are so tasty, the hard ones.
Yeah.
But I've gotten more used to them, and they're actually kind of a good snack also for George. It's kind of like, what do we give him?
I mean, I think they're salty, they're bready, they're really, actually, when speaking of salty and bready, I do like a hard pretzel. I think they're easy, but I really love a soft pretzel.
Me too.
Or there's a couple of chains. There's Auntie Anne's that was founded in 1988.
I have frequented there with walking a mall with a toddler looking for something to do and eat.
Yes, across America, there's 1,200 locations. And then also my favorite Wetzel's Pretzels.
I have a friend, Kieran Riley, in Wexford, Ireland, who actually was part of bringing Annie's Pretzels as a franchise to Ireland.
Oh, wow.
Which would never have been a thing at all.
Yeah.
I never would have seen pretzels growing up.
Yeah, but I feel like, again, it's bread. I mean, it's soft. It has got these bits of salt on it. They're when they're served warm.
I mean, it has all the things.
Yeah,
they're freshly made in front of you.
Yeah,
like it's because you see the process. They're freshly made. Also, I have to say the dips.
Yes,
It's all about the dips. Let me tell you something though. I will say that when I've been in that situation in a mall when I'm really hungry, I remember being pregnant up in Sacramento in a shopping mall. I needed something fast and I needed something like tasty. And it's not the first time I've done this. I will get the hot dog wrapped pretzels from Wetzel's Pretzels.
Yeah. I just like the smell of the toasty,
yummy,
yeasty bread is so good. Yeah, I know. It's a guilty pleasure for sure.
So I did find out that the largest pretzel ever made was made in Germany, which makes sense, for Pretzel Fest, which is Brezelfest.
Oh.
And that was my German. Sounded more like English. But anyways, and it would get this. It weighed almost 800 kilos.
Wow.
Which is 1,700 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So think about 1,700 bags of sugar. Like, I mean, how do you even bake? Like, how do you cook and bake it?
Well, how do you even need?
I don't know.
Dough?
I don't know. How do you even need the dough? Yeah, you don't. It's a no-need recipe. It was huge. It was 29 feet long, and it was 13 feet wide.
Well, how did they bake that?
I don't know. That was my question.
Oh, well, I mean, they must have had some sort of maybe it was over a fire or like over a. I don't understand. Or did they put it together?
They might have put it together.
Is it a single pretzel that could win?
Well, I would think if it was a Guinness World Record, it'd have to be a single pretzel.
I think so too.
But I have to admit, one of my things that I want to do, and I will do it, is actually to get a Guinness World Record for something.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Maybe it's the next largest pretzel.
No. That's already no. I need something kind of small that hasn't been done. Like nobody has made, the biggest mug cake. It's like,
how
why
about
don't I do that?
Pretzel.
Or the top, yeah. Now you're thinking more like me, Ami. So we have a special guest for you guys today and for Ami and I because we're big fans. Adam Shapiro, who is an actor known for shows like Never Have I Ever and also The Bear, which Kevin is the biggest fan. Such a great show. It's such a great show.
Me too. Fans of both of them.
You're going to have to just chill now. You're going to have to just dial it back a bit when he comes in here, okay? Don't make me call HR, which is Kevin, FYI. So Adam is going to bring us in some of his pretzels because Adam, like I said, he's not only an actor. Adam founded Shappy Pretzel Co. in 2020 during the pandemic, and he created it as a Philly native to be able to have that taste of like an authentic Philly pretzel on the West Coast. It is delivered through Goldbelly around the country. He has amazing pop-ups here in LA. They sell out of the famous Cantor's Deli, which we all know and love, a famous Jewish deli here in LA. And fun fact, for the last 3 years, he has supplied pretzels under the seats of all the celebrities at the Oscars, over 3,000 pretzels each year. Could you imagine?
That's fantastic.
He gets to walk the red carpet. Like, I follow him on Instagram, and if you don't, you should. It's his story is amazing, and I can't wait for him to tell it. So we're going to bring him in. So welcome, Adam.
Yes.
You appeared.
We're here.
You appeared in the middle.
Crazy. Good to be here. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
really good.
Thank you for bringing pretzels.
That's what I do these days. I bring
My favorite
pretzels.
people
Look
bring
at
me
how
food or drinks.
Gorgeous these pretzels are.
The only thing that really
Beautiful.
sucks about being the pretzel guy is now when I show up without pretzels,
Yeah.
it's like a huge disappointment. Everyone's like, Shappy's here. Where's the
Where's the
pretzels?
pretzels?
I'm like, I didn't bring any. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could get
All right,
that.
well, come on in. So, of course, I brought some pretzels.
Yes.
And I just want to like squeeze one. They
Don't
look
you?
so like plush and delicious.
Yeah, they're like fluffy little pillows.
I mean, when I look at this, I'm like, oh, this is just like, perfect. The color, the texture. And actually that launches me into my first question for you.
Shoot, go
which
for it.
is what defines the perfect pretzel? So when you think about like your flavor and texture goals, like when you were developing your recipe, you thought like this is what I want to create.
I mean, I grew up in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And in Philly, pretzels are woven into the fabric of the culture of that city, right? I mean, long story short, the Germans came over to the United States. They moved to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is just like an hour west of Philly. They brought the big Bavarian shape. But when you can only put a couple of those big Bavarian pretzels on a sheet pan, right?
Yeah.
Or in an oven, right? So what we did in Philly was take that Bavarian shape, squeeze it down from the top and the bottom, turn it vertically, stack them, and now you got 20 in a pan. You got 16 in a pan.
That's how
the Philly pretzel shape came to. So the way you twist a Philly pretzel shape is the same exact way you twist a traditional Bavarian
Squish
shape
'em.
pretzel, but you squish them top to bottom and turn them vertically and then stack.
That is, do you know what? I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
So it was really it was a economic
Yeah.
decision. It was like a space decision, right? But the cool thing about it is when they're baked together, as you know, when you're making brownies
Yep.
or you're baking cinnamon buns,
Yeah.
and they're all stuck together
They
in the
batch
pan,
bake.
you rip them apart.
Yeah. It's my
Right?
favorite.
And two things come from that. One is when you buy a pretzel in Philly, you buy a bunch of pretzels in Philly.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I moved out of Philly and I saw someone go to like Annie Ann's or whatever and get one pretzel. And I was like, you selfish bastard. What are you going to give your friends? Like in Philly, you buy a bunch of pretzels
Yeah.
and you share them with everyone.
And you bring it all in one piece.
Yeah, you buy like a rack.
So
Yeah.
there's no guy like selling like pretzels like
One
on-
pretzel. No, there's
On the
there's
stick?
usually, it's usually a guy with a shopping cart with rows of pretzels that are still connected, separated by cardboard, right? So you pull up to the red light in Philly and you have your pretzel guy that you buy pretzels from all the time.
No way.
And you go, yo! As soon as you
Yeah.
sort of wait for the red light. And then you say, give me a dozen or give me 2 dozen. And he gives you them attached. So when you get home, you're ripping them apart.
Today, like you can do that today.
Even today, they have clamped down. Although there was a famous there was a famous news story that aired in Philly about the sort of health conditions of some of these pretzel vendors in Philly, and it was all about like
Aw.
these guys don't wash their hands after they pee, and like the car exhaust gets all over the pretzels because
yeah.
they're on the side of the road. But like more times than not, when a Philly person comes and picks up Shappy Pretzel, they're like, "Hey, did you wash your hands today?" And I'm like, "You better believe I didn't wash my hands. These are Philly pretzels." Like when I bake these things, I let them run under my minivan for like an hour just to get that
To get that flavor, just get that,
that flavor.
Yeah, that je ne sais quoi.
So that's like that. That's the tradition in Philly. The other thing that comes with baking these things together is when you rip them apart, you get this thing I like to call a side pretzel. That's side pretzel.
Some serious side-
You see that serious side pretzel, right? When you do that, that part doesn't hit the lye, which is why it's so white, right? And I think taking the lye off of the edges on the two sides of the pretzel actually brings the perfect flavor balance and proportions to the lye part of the pretzel and then the part that doesn't.
Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead to question number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Who needs question number 2?
Okay, no, we're going to go back to question number 2.
Okay, we'll go
but I got
back.
to skip ahead because you just mentioned lye.
Yeah.
And a couple years ago, Gemma and I decided we were going to try to make hard pretzels. And I was like, oh, we need lye for that.
Didn't go well.
And then we were about to work with it. And then I read about lye and I got totally scared. And I was like, I don't want
And
to burn my eyes.
she wouldn't do it.
And I was like, no, Gemma, I'm sorry. I'm not going to make this. Like, you can do it, but I'm not going to do it.
I still have the lye in the cupboard.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
do you?
Yeah.
So
She wouldn't
can
do
you-
it.
Can you
I'm not
tell
gonna
me,
do
like,
it.
How do
Let's
you
talk about lye.
I'm so afraid of lye.
First of all, so my other life, outside of pretzels is acting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys know this, and I've killed 2 people using lye. Actually, in a show called it was with Deborah Messing, where she was like a cop and a mom. It was called Mysteries of Laura.
Oh, you actually like in the
I know
shows.
that show. I know that show. I remember
And
that.
we killed our landlord by accident,
Uh-huh.
and we freaked out, that
Yeah.
we were going to get caught and go to jail. So we put her in a bathtub with lye, and we like dissolved her. Right,
That's the same lie.
same exact lye. Now here's the other crazy thing.
Yeah.
Then I was on
I
a
am
show
afraid
called
of lye.
Bones, and I killed my boss, and I
lye.
put him in lye. So I had experience with lye before I started making pretzels. Just dissolving bodies.
Yeah, right. That's
like
it,
nothing
that's it.
crazy. And so I was freaked out about lye too, because it really is
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
thing. Lye is made to make soap,
Mm-hmm.
to clean drains,
Mhm.
and then because of Breaking Bad, it became sort of infamous with like dissolving bodies,
Right.
which is then why I think I dissolved bodies on 2 shows because of the success of Breaking Bad.
It also tenderizes dough.
It just tenderizes the dough. So and that's what the monks in the monasteries back in Italy, making these little things called pretiolas, would use lye
Yeah.
to give this flavor to the dough.
Mhm.
And so I was freaking out about the lye too, but you're making a lye solution. So you're using a very little bit of lye with a little bit of water.
Yeah.
And you're creating a clear solution that you then dunk the pretzels in for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, maybe a little bit on the front, maybe a little bit on the
Do you have to
back.
use like goggles and gloves?
So when I first started doing it, it looked like I was creating a
Hazmat
nuclear
suit.
bomb, like full hazmat suit. And then I started to become more comfortable with it. Now I just wear gloves. I mean, you definitely want to, you want to, just like when you're putting stuff into a frying
yeah.
oil,
Mhm.
you want to like put it in away from
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
So if
yeah,
it does
yeah.
splash, it splashes the other way.
And
prob-
gently.
yeah, and you definitely want to use short sleeves. Like you can see,
Uh-huh.
I have lots
Yeah,
of
sure.
lye burns
Yeah,
from my
yeah.
forearms from wearing short sleeves because I started Shappy Pretzel in the dead of the summer, and there was no way I was going to use the long sleeves because it was COVID.
it was
It was
LA.
crazy. We were all out of our minds. But it was about 150 degrees in my kitchen when I was using my oven to make 5,000 pretzels. But yeah, so you got to be careful with it. But once it's done, once that lye gelatinizes the outside of the dough,
Didn't know
Oh,
that.
yep. Uh-huh.
so it turns, the reason you get this like crazy juxtaposition between the shiny brown outside and then that white soft inside is because the outside has been gelatinized by the lye
Mhm.
and the inside hasn't been. So that's why you get that like,
Wow.
I mean, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
So delicious.
Which one's on me? Which camera sees this? So yeah.
They all do, Adam.
Yeah, okay, cool. I like that. 3 cameras
all
on me
on
at
you.
all times. 10 toes down. So yeah, I think that's the thing with the lye is that it's making a chemical reaction on the dough, and then once it hits the heat in the oven,
Yeah.
it basically turns into like a very potent baking soda solution.
Yeah.
So
But, okay. So then
then it becomes
my,
safe to eat.
my follow-up question is like the steam. Like, is there like eye burn from like boiling lye?
Yeah, so like normally I don't make the lye in a super hot boiling water. I
Okay.
usually do it in like a lukewarm water.
Okay.
Yeah, and I went on a pretzel tour this summer in Philadelphia and Lancaster. I met like 30 different pretzel bakers who I've met on Instagram over the years.
Saw that.
And I filmed it, and it was like
Yeah.
sponsored by this cool company called Garage Beer, and I met all these great bakers, and everybody has a little bit different like way that they apply the lye. But one thing I saw that was pretty consistent was that most people have their lye on a permanent, really low running burner,
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
so that it always keeps the lye a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Normally, you're dipping frozen pretzels that
Uh-huh.
you have frozen to sort of like retard the growth of
The proofing. or
the
whatever.
proofing.
Yeah.
And so when you put a bunch of frozen pretzels in the lye, it drastically changes the temperature of the lye bath.
Sure.
If it gets too cold, it starts to sort of like not stick to the dough.
Oh.
So you
okay,
got to
so
keep.
it has to be warm.
You have to keep it warm.
Okay.
I don't keep it on a burner because I just don't have that situation in my bakery. But I just replace the lye with
Yeah.
warm water and make new solutions every like I don't know, maybe like 400 pretzels or something like that.
Okay, so now you mentioned going to Philadelphia, and it actually leads me back to question number 2.
Oh yeah, let's get back. This is cool.
I told Ami before. I was like, you're gonna have to edit yourself.
I like those kind of movies that go like, that they jump time.
Yeah, we're gonna go back.
I like
Actually,
it.
I want to go
it
back
starts
into,
with
memory lane for you. Now, sometimes I think about certain, as a baker, there's certain flavors I want to evoke from my past, or I feel like food can be so emotional, taste can be so emotional, it can really bring us back. And I know I read that when you were developing your pretzel recipe over COVID, it was you were feeling a little homesick.
100%.
But I just wonder, was there a formative experience in your past, or a few that you were always trying to go back to?
Yeah. Okay. You watch you're like a big Office fan.
Huge Office fan.
Office fan.
Of course.
So that episode where they have Pretzel Day.
Yeah.
Right. That is a huge part of growing up in Philly. Yeah. Every office has a Pretzel Day.
Are you serious?
Every
It's a
school,
thing? It's real?
It is a thing. It's not like a thing that was
way.
created by the Office writers.
No way.
They turned it into the funniest, most epic episode of all time. But the Pretzel Day concept is like a huge part of growing up in Philly. Every school has Pretzel Day. I went to Hebrew school. My synagogue had Pretzel Day. Every office has Pretzel Day.
This is so crazy.
And honestly, Pretzel Day is at my school, Pretzel Day was once a week. So it's not like once a year, like in the office. I think it's like an annual thing. But it's like more like once a week, or once every couple of weeks. And so in elementary school, we used to have Pretzel Day on Thursdays. And at the end of school, before you go out to get into your parents' car or jump on the bus, you go to the cafeteria, and there was racks and racks of pretzels stacked up on the tables. And you could buy a rack of 8 of them for $2 for 8 pretzels, just something 25 cents a pretzel, or 10 cents a pretzel, or something like that. And then they would put them in a long paper bag. And you would grab that bag, and my mom was expecting me to come in with the pretzel. It was Pretzel Day, And so there was a flavor that is, it's so ingrained in my memory, the flavor of almost the difference between the flavor of that first bite. So I'd always bite a pretzel before I even left the cafeteria.
Because it's hot and chewy and all that, right?
And then after it's been in in the paper bag, in my book bag for a while, and now I'm home, and now it's a couple hours later, and you pull it out, and it's a little bit sweatier. The salt has pulled out a little bit of the moisture from the pretzel, which sort of dissolves the salt, turns into a little bead of water that then soaks back into the pretzel. Right? It's a very specific flavor. And I love that flavor. And so during COVID, when I started making these pretzels just for fun, just because my son Albie was 2, and I was like, this dude hasn't had a Philly pretzel yet. This is insane.
Yeah.
And we were getting really into baking and cooking. And everybody and their mother was making sourdough at this point.
It was the best time. Yeah.
It was
baking.
It was the best.
Clarify, for baking.
For baking. It was a phenomenal moment in time. But we started making these pretzels, and it was called Shappy Pretzels just because everyone kept calling it that. Oh, have you had one of Shappy's Pretzels? Has he dropped one off at your house or whatever? But had I actually thought about the name of this company, I would have called it Pretzel Day. I love the name Pretzel Day, There is a Pretzel Day now, I think, out of Philly, Pretzel Day Pretzels.
Oh.
Which is a solid name. Shout out Pretzel Day Pretzels. Hook your boy up. But I always was chasing that flavor in my head. That specifically the one that was in the paper bag a couple hours later.
Yeah.
Because it's rare to get a Philly pretzel in Philly really hot out of the oven. And partially that's because it's gone from the oven to a truck. That truck then distributed to a bunch of people on the shopping cart. So it's usually a couple hours and you're getting it room temperature. But the Germans say that the best way to eat a pretzel is room temperature.
Yeah.
So it's a very American thing, I think, to start heating up the pretzels.
Hot off out of the oven.
Yeah, because in Germany, not only would they say that it's best eaten at room temperature, but that's why when you walk into those bars and restaurants in Germany and they've got those pegs on the wall and they hang the pretzels up to bring them down to room temperature. Because in Germany, they like to slice it halfway through and then put butter on it. And if it's too hot, the butter melts. And like when you slice a bagel open and you put cream cheese on there, if it's too hot,
it's
the cream cheese melts.
Runny. Yeah, no
so
good.
you do want it to be like the right temperature for the butter. And in Germany, they like to put butter on the pretzel. And I actually agree. I do think that a hot pretzel is delicious, but it is a completely different flavor than what I believe is the best flavor, which is at room temperature.
Yeah, in your backpack.
And when people say like, these pretzels are cold, I'm like, no, they're room temperature.
You tell them, Adam.
Yeah, I'm very quick to tell people to go themselves. That's like one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite parts about Shappy Pretzel.
Say that again and I'll beep you.
Yeah, good.
Beep.
Okay, so are you willing to share a trade secret? Like,
I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
So how do you get that like real, like chewy, soft pretzel?
That's a secret. I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
I'd have to kill you. No. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with so much of pretzel making, so much of baking is a process, right?
Yeah.
And I think like when I first started making these pretzels at a bigger bakery, I had one of the bakers tell me, listen, the best pastry chef in France could give you his exact restaurant, his or her exact recipe for their best croissant, and you're never going to get anywhere close.
Oh, yeah, believe me, I've done that with croissants.
Like there's something about baking, which is like the recipe is like half of the battle,
it is.
It's the process.
100%.
So I think with pretzels, you're constantly having to calibrate a bunch of things. One is the thickness of the rope that you end up tying into the pretzel. If it's too thick, the flavor changes. If it's too thin, the flavor's going to change that way too. Also, once you dip it in the lye, that's going to make this brown exterior, right? If it's in the lye too long, then when you put it in the oven, it's going to get too brown.
Yeah.
Right? And actually undercook, right? Because it's been in the lye.
Oh, right.
If you put it into the lye, or the lye solution's not potent enough, or it's too cold, then the pretzel's not going to retain that lye as well, and it's going to take longer to get brown, and then you're going to overcook the pretzel.
Yeah.
So like it really is like a balance between the weight of the pretzel, the thickness of the rope that you're tying, that you're knotting into the pretzel, the amount of time it's in the lye, and then the amount of time it's in the oven, and the temperature of the oven, right? And so there's just so many like factors there. I think a lot of it is just finessing it, because I've made these pretzels a couple times. I've gotten hired to make these pretzels out of town, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York. And once that humidity changes, once you're in a different elevation, all of a sudden I'm like dealing with, like I made them in the dead of summer in Chicago at a bagel bakery, and I couldn't stop them from proofing. I mean, they were like, I delivered these pretzels. They were like 3 times the size of a normal Shappy pretzel. And I was like, what is going on, And luckily there were some really great bakers, because like I'm not that experienced of a baker. I'm pretty experienced with these pretzels now, 4.5 years into this company, but I'm not that experienced with baking other things.
Yeah.
And so when I'm in situations where to get that chewy, perfect flavor, if my conditions change, I don't really have like the experience to make those changes.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I've been around some really great bakers during these 4 or 5 years. And one of them was like, let's take the yeast down a little bit. Let's add a little bit more flour. Let's not proof them at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just shape them, get them onto the racks, and get them into
let
the freezer.
them go. Yeah.
And so those sort of little adjustments are the things. But I think like once you make all those adjustments, I think, part of it is it's got to have lye, and then it's got to have the right salt distribution. I actually think these have too much salt, but the funny reason is why they have too much salt is because I changed my salt shakers recently, and the holes are too big.
Yeah.
And so it's just like dumping salt on there. So I gotta do something about that.
Yeah.
So I want to talk briefly about how you got into doing the Oscars pretzel.
Oh yeah, good idea. Let's talk about that. We're that's not veering too far off pretzels.
No, it's not.
I never veer too far off pretzels.
It's such a great story. So just to give everybody a little bit of a background, and then I want to hear about what's going on with you now in the acting world while I
Shappy
eat a pretzel.
is very much a Hollywood pretzel company. I'll admit it. We're super Hollywood. We've gone totally Hollywood. Everybody in Philly be like, oh my God, Shappy Pretzel's so Hollywood, dude. Well, you're out there with Bradley Cooper, Will Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
You know Bradley Cooper. You go down and you see Bradley Cooper ever out there in Hollywood. So I was doing, the Eagles were in the Super Bowl a bunch of years ago. And this is the one that we lost, not the one that we just won. Like 1 million to nothing, by the way. We were in the Super Bowl against Kansas City Chiefs, and one of my regular customers who orders the pretzels for his office all the time is Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay.
And Jimmy Kimmel and I know each other, and his wife Molly, because Katie was on Scandal for a bunch of years. My wife Katie, and so she was always on Jimmy Kimmel, promoting Scandal. So Kimmel was like, "Hey, I want to do like Kansas City barbecue and Philly pretzels for my Super Bowl party. Can you bring a bunch of pretzels over?" So I dropped him off like a couple hundred pretzels for his party. And as I'm leaving, he's like, I'm hosting the Oscars. We should do pretzels for the Oscars.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Like totally. I just figured he meant like, a couple pretzels backstage.
Yeah, backstage.
For the old VIP section, And so I talked to Molly the next day, and she was like, no, I want to put pretzels like under every seat. And I was like, how many seats are in the theater? That's like 4,500 seats. So I was like, great. So I met with the Oscars, and they were like, yeah, we want to put a little bottle of water and a Shappy Pretzel under every seat at the Oscars. And how much would that cost us? And I was like, actually, I'll take care of the pretzels, right? Don't worry about the cost of the pretzels. But like, you got to give me and my wife like free, like all unlimited access to the Oscars red carpet.
Yeah.
I was like, I want my wife on the red carpet at the Oscars.
Yeah, baby. That's a great idea.
And they were like, yeah, sure. And we ended up having the best night ever. And we did 1 million interviews, and we got more publicity for Shappy Pretzel than I could have ever paid for, so it was very worth it.
Yeah.
And then my favorite part about it was on the front of the bag under every seat was a little note from Jimmy Kimmel saying, "You're hungry, eat this."
Yeah.
With a little Oscar statue and Jimmy's signature that we stamped on 5,000 bags. And on the back was a little QR code that took you not to shappypretzel.com, but just straight to my acting demo reel.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Just straight to the demo reel.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I was like, you got to shoot your shot. You know what
That's
I mean?
real Hollywood.
That's Hollywood.
Good
That's a
for
Hollywood
you.
pretzel
Good for
company.
you, man. That sure is.
And it takes you to this demo reel, and I go like, it's me, and I'm like, what's up? It's Shappy. You're at the Oscars. Congrats. You're also eating a Shappy pretzel. If you happen to be Steven Spielberg, check this out. And then it just cuts to
Yeah. Have you seen my new headshots?
Yeah. Check out these pics.
I love it.
Here's me being serious.
So we ended up doing the Oscars that year. Jimmy asked us to come back the next year as well. And then this year, Conan was hosting, so I figured maybe that was it. And then we heard from the Oscars again, and they said, let's do it again. So we've now done it 3 years in a row. And at this point, now you can't really throw an Oscars without a Shappy Pretzel.
Why would you? Why?
There's no
why
point.
would you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No point.
There's no point.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
everyone's in it for the pretzels now.
That's why you go to the Oscars.
Yeah, 100%.
Most people lose, but everyone wins.
How many days does it take you to bake 3,500 pretzels?
Now I've got it down to a science. I go to the Oscar parties, the night before parties.
Yeah.
Hey, Waffles, what you want? You want a pretzel? That is a cute
Oh my God, you see that face?
That is a cute puppy. Oh, Waffles is going to be huge on the internet. Are you huge on the internet already?
Yeah, you know what? I stopped posting about it. I posted with George instead.
Sure.
George is a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
Oh.
Big time.
So Waffles doesn't like the attention.
I kind of just, with yourself when you get a dog. You're like, hey, look, I have a dog. And then you get a baby and you're like, oh, wait, here's the baby.
I love the nickname. I was called Waffles once when I was on this movie called Steve Jobs. And they came on to set. And it was like a crazy day on set where like Jeff Daniels was there and Kate Winslet and Michael Fassbender and Seth Rogen. It was like the best cast ever. And somebody came on and was like, hey guys, there is a snack outside. There's some waffles out there. And I don't know why I just got so excited about it, but I was like, waffles? Really loud, like my voice cracked. And then just like for the rest of the shoot, everybody called me Waffles. So I love
I'm
that
going
name.
to
I have a real soft spot. But yeah, so now we do the Oscars.
Yeah, you do the Oscars.
And it's a whole thing.
So tell me, what are you working on now? Where can we expect to see you? And
Good idea. Yeah, acting.
Acting.
The other thing.
Yeah. Because we do celebrities and we do baking, and you're both. So that's really helpful for us.
Who's a celebrity?
You.
Baking celebrity?
Uh-huh.
Well,
just regular and then baking.
just regular old school celebrity? I don't know about that, but I am on The Bear now, which is dope. Little show about restaurants in Chicago.
Is there a pretzel episode?
You know what? I would like there to be, if I was writing an episode, it'd be all about pretzels. Chicago actually, there's a bit of a hole in Chicago's culinary
I was
thing,
talking
and
to
it's
Kevin
soft
about
pretzels.
this. Is that what it is?
Because they have everything. Chicago's restaurant scene is insane. You were just in Chicago.
Right? It's really. I do. They have some great restaurants there. I just don't know where to go when I need. Like we were in the hotel. I was like, where do I go for breakfast? Like I know where to go for my dinner to get like
Dinners.
an awesome experience.
Forget it.
I don't know in between that.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know where to go for lunch or for breakfast. We often go to trade shows there, so I'm like eating at a trade show. So I would love to know, like, is there a good bagel scene? There's no pretzel scene, you said?
I have a homie in Chicago, Corey Kaplan, who owns Corey's NYC Bagel Deli. There's 2 locations, and they're delicious bagels. They're unbelievable. And he's the one who helped me make like 4,000 pretzels for the Chicago Windy City Smokeout Festival. That was when the humidity got a little crazy for me. Yeah, Chicago doesn't have that many pretzels. When I was at the Bear last season 3, I did a pretzel day.
Is it here?
Huh.
The Bear is shot here?
In Chicago. Only exclusively.
Just gonna keep.
Yeah, I love the Bear. It's so much fun. We did a pretzel day last. Oh, so this was crazy. So if anybody, no spoiler alerts, but in season 3, which is already aired, in the finale, there's like 15 like world-class chefs in the finale.
No
you remember
way.
this? Have you seen the finale?
No,
Season 3 yet?
I will tell you, I don't watch it because I'm working.
It's so stressful.
Yeah.
It's so stressful. I know a lot of people who worked at
It's
restaurants.
some of the best television I've ever seen.
It's so good.
I've talked to other chefs and they're like, do you watch it? And I was like, God, no. And they're like, no, me neither. I can't.
I know.
I can't
Sitting on the couch
relive
with my
that.
husband and someone, he's like, there's a lot of screaming.
It
And I was like, shut up. I'm watching the show.
Yeah, it's so it can be a really stressful show for people who have worked in that environment for sure. I haven't, so I'm obsessed with the show, and I just want to watch every episode 1,000 times. Also, it's it's rare to like get added to a show that you're a huge fan of.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of times I get added to a show, I'm like, oh, I've never seen the show, whatever. Right. But I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is when I left after my first episode, which I thought was going to be my only episode, I said to the guy who created the show, Chris Storer, who's like this genius dude, nicest guy in the world. I said, Chris, thanks for, I audition for everything. I never just get like a phone call, about a show. And he's like, well, we're just like so obsessed with the pretzel thing. We had to get you in here.
No way.
And I was like, the pretzel?
That got you your job.
I texted my wife.
Acting, right?
I was like, see, Katie, it's not a huge waste of everybody's time and expenses.
Suck, Katie.
Yeah, I'm on the Bear, baby. Let's go. I'm taking you out to dinner. But it really is just such a fun show for me to be a part of and to get to really see. And it feels, I come from theater and I love immersive theater.
Yeah.
I love doing theater like inside of the audience, like I love,
get that vibe from you.
Yeah, I like to like it's fun to like act really close to somebody, And
Oh yeah.
and
freaks them out.
Yeah, it freaks them out. It's like weird.
Yeah.
And I just like
You guys are theater geeks.
yeah, we're like total theater geeks.
Yeah, 100%.
And we come from the old school. We got our chops treading the boards. But no, I really feel like when you're at the Bear, it's like a little bit like doing immersive theater. It's very real. The food's real. The oven's on. The gas burners are real. You're not faking any of the food stuff.
Yeah.
And you can't swing a cat around that set without hitting a real chef. And there's so many people around making sure that everything is extremely authentic and real and as it would be. And every time, the best is my restaurant where I'm like a chef in the show is like real fancy place.
Yeah.
Ever, which is Real Restaurant Chicago, which is incredible. Michelin, just amazing. And if you're making like a Wagyu steak in a scene, every time you call cut, it's like, who wants to eat that? Because you got to replace it. And I'm like, I want to eat that.
Yeah.
I'm eating crab legs.
Yeah.
Wagyu steak. It's the best job ever.
Yum.
So I love it, but I
season
get it.
3.
So in season 3, there's a finale where there's a million amazing chefs in the episode. It's really cool. All these chefs come to the restaurant. It's a really cool episode. And I didn't realize that was what the scene was that day. I just chose that day because that was the day where I felt like I could get into the bakery and make pretzels for everybody.
Yeah.
So I show up with 150 pretzels and I don't realize. And then I look at the call sheet and it's like every amazing chef from around the world. and I'm feeding them my pretzels.
Wow.
It was really cool.
That
It was
is
like life
so
imitating
cool.
art because in the episode, I'm feeding all of these great chefs in my restaurant. So
Uh-huh.
I got to sort of experience it before I shot it. And I mean, it's just the coolest. So now they're shooting season 4, and I maybe just shot a piece of season 4. I don't know, maybe.
I don't know, whatever.
Fantastic.
I don't care.
Fantastic.
I don't care.
When's that coming out? Have they announced?
They haven't announced yet, but The Bear usually seems to come out in the summers every year, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's not.
That's
a summer
awesome.
release.
Can't wait.
Come here to me. That's
Season 4.
awesome. Thank you, Adam.
Hey, a pleasure.
I learned a lot. I laughed a lot.
I'm glad.
Ami talked a lot.
Ah,
She got all her,
good
did
to
you get
meet
all
you.
your
I'm
questions
so
out,
excited.
Ami.
This could have been a 4-hour episode if you let me.
Thank you for listening to the very end if you did. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, wherever you listen to podcasts, please like, subscribe, come back. You'll come back.
Swipe up,
sometime?
swipe up,
swipe
tap,
up, swipe down,
tap
swipe
it.
left, swipe right, whatever you want to do.
Tap it, like it, leave a comment.
Do you want to say anything else, Adam?
Yeah, like how are you guys?
No!
You know what I mean? Comment below. Just tell us like how you're doing. Tell us what you're up to. What are you baking? How you feeling? How you feeling like this crazy world, this crazy time? It's crazy. And like, how's your family and everything?
Call off his mic. Here we go. That's enough from you.
That was the last thing I wanted to ask.
Thank you very much, and we'll be back soon. Thank you, Adam.
Bye. Thank you guys.
From HRN and the Bold Baking Network, you are watching the Need to Know Baking Entertainment podcast.